Hi, everybody. It's Jennifer Eakins with 444 Fantasy Football. I am here to talk to you today about some guys to put in your flex. Flexworthy, flexibility, whatever you want to call it. 5 players that I think are going to be good for you in your flex spot this weekend in week 4. Before I get into it, though, I do want to remind everybody to subscribe to the 444 YouTube channel. And also like this video if you enjoy the content that I bestow upon you today. One more thing before I start. I do want to let people know that if you do not have a 444 subscription, we have a really great promo running right now through Saturday, September 30th for 25% off any sub. DFS sub, betting sub, pro sub, regular redraft sub. You will get access to all the projections, the tools, the content, the rankings, all of that for 25% off. So just head over to 444.com/plans and type in September in the promo code SUBTEMBER for 25% off any 444 subscription. Great deal through Saturday, the 30th. All right, let's get into guys that I think should be really good flex plays this week. We've got a lot of injuries around the league, so people are scrambling already in week 4. So these are some good guys, I think, to plug in. First guy I'm going to talk about is wide receiver Chris Olave for the Saints. He is heading over to London to face the Vikings this week in week 4. Olave has 29 targets through 3 games so far. He is leading the NFL in air yards per game with 179. And he is averaging 15.76 yards per reception. You've got both Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry are banged up. Even Alvin Kamara is banged up with a rib injury. So Olave is right now the guy. He could have a major role in this offense. He's great for your flex spot. I will say Jameis Winston is still questionable. Andy Dalton, not ideal. However, I don't think it's going to affect him too much. I think Olave is still a great play this week. A second guy on my list here is running back Kareem Hunt for the Browns. They are heading to Atlanta to face the Falcons. Kareem Hunt has 15 touches a game right now, which is 21st out of running backs. I mean, he also has RB15 numbers. He's averaging 12.3 half PPR points per game. So based on his volume and his output, he's technically an RB2. So some people may have to use him as your RB2 if you're lucky enough to not have DeAndre Swift or some of, David Montgomery, some of these guys that are getting hurt, and he's flex worthy for you. Go for it. I think Kareem Hunt is in a really good spot this week. Atlanta is 22nd in adjusted fantasy points allowed to running backs, which is our fantasy football, our 444 signature metric. He only has 1 touchdown right now this season, which is not ideal, but I think this is going to be week he's going to add to that. So I think Kareem Hunt is in a good spot, good matchup. Start him in your flex if you've got it. Third guy I'm going to talk about is Brandon Aiyuk, wide receiver for the 49ers. He is staying at home this week against division rival Rams. So with Jimmy Garoppolo under center, Aiyuk saw an uptick in targets. He only had 2 targets in week 1, and then he had 8 in both weeks 2 and 3. The Rams are 30th in wide receiver adjusted fantasy points allowed. They've basically been a sieve to opposing wide receivers. Week 1, they let Stephon Diggs score 22.2 half PPR points. Gabriel Davis scored 16.8 that same game. Week 2, they yielded Drake London 20.6 half PPR points. And then last week, Hollywood Brown dropped a 21 on him, and even Greg Dortch got in the action with a 12.5. They've been allowing a ton of half PPR points to wide receivers. Brandon Aiyuk is in a great spot. I understand that, some people were hesitant. Last year was rough for him. He was in the doghouse. I think this year is different. I think he's coming on. He's a flex-worthy guy this week. Fourth guy I'm going to talk about is running back Melvin Gordon for the Denver Broncos. They are also in a divisional matchup, an AFC West showdown against the Raiders in Las Vegas. Much to the chagrin of Javonte Williams drafters, Gordon is hanging around. He's not only hanging around, he's there. I mean, he has 34 carries right now to Javonte Williams' 37. And he's been the red zone and goal line guy. Melvin Gordon has 67.7% of the carries inside the 10 and the 5-yard line this season. Yes, he fumbled on the goal line, So did Javonte Williams. They both should bounce back. The Raiders are 27th in running back adjusted fantasy points allowed this season. They are allowing 25.6 half PPR points per game to enemy running backs this season. I think Gordon makes for a great flex play. He even makes for an RB2 play if you're desperate, if you need him. But I think flex-wise, he's one of those guys that could get in. He's also involved in the passing game. He's their goal line guy. Go with Gordon this week in the flex if you have him. Final guy I'm going to talk about with some flexibility is Noah Brown, wide receiver for the Cowboys. They are playing at home this weekend in Jerry World against the Commanders. Brown is averaging 7 targets a game and 71 receiving yards a game. He is operating right now as the Cowboys wide receiver 2. Now, Michael Gallup may be back this week, still TBD. Even if he's back, I feel like he will be limited. They're going to try to ease him back in. Brown is still worthy of a spot. Washington is surrendering the 3rd most receiving yards, 652, and the 2nd most touchdowns, 5 of them, to wide receivers this season. So I think that, divisional rival game is going to be fun, and I think Brown will be involved, even if Michael Gallup, don't be scared by that. I think Brown is going to be fine. Dalton Schultz is also suffering an injury and may not play. So that's kind of more targets and more things that may go Brown's way. So those are the 5 guys I think are worthy of flex spots if you have them, or even if you could pick up. I mean, I know that most of these guys are probably already rostered, but you never know. Once again, be sure to subscribe to the 4for4 YouTube channel. Like this video if you enjoy the content. Have a wonderful rest of your day and a fruitful and productive week 4.